So what are some things with your team, your sales team? Because I have no doubt that I refer more people to you, they'll have a white glove experience by how you lead, how you are. What are some things that you take personally with your own team when they get on with a client who maybe wants to get into mentorship for drop shipping, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the number one thing is that we're not here to sell features and benefits, but we're here to enhance people's lives and ensure that their dream and the perceived value that goes inside of that dream can be brought into life with, whatever time constraints they have or whatever money constraints that they might have.
You're amazing. I've done a lot of interviews, just, a little feedback. You're a great interviewer too.
Never lose that magic, Jeff.
All right, we interrupt this podcast to talk to our sponsor. Our main sponsor is Progretta. Progretta is a CRM at Go High Level that I own equity in, that I helped Andy O'D network and grow, and now we're going to grow to the next level. If you want to be a Progretta certified customer, okay, which means you get all my templates, all my funnels, all the knowledge, and get access to me, then just try the free demo, okay? The link's going to be in the description. And Progretta is the CRM that I use to do over 100K in invoices, and you can too. And people have used different Go High Levels, but they haven't had the support or the community like Progretta is doing. Progretta, they care about your progression daily, and it is a newer company, but it's going for them. Speaking of newer companies and paid sponsors, for $500 you can get a sponsor spot right here. I'll read it on the next episode of the Make More Money podcast. And one of the sponsors that I have to mention is PowerWorks Co. PowerWorks Co. founded by Nathaniel. Okay, Nathaniel is a leader, he's a man of God, and he's duplicated multiple leaders like him. So many people would ask me, hey Jeff, can I have a team like yours? Well, yeah, you can with PowerWorks Co. PowerWorks Co. is highly trained in AI, and with any AI agents, anything you're overwhelmed with, go book the link below, fill out an intake form. If you're the right fit and you need a helper, and maybe you're trying to do all this stuff, your podcast, webinar, book, all the stuff that I do, then see if maybe PowerWorks Co. is a fit for you. Without further ado, let's get back to the podcast. All right, welcome back to the Make More Money podcast. I am here with one of the most heart-centered people. If you've been listening to the Make More Money podcast, so many people ask to be on, and it's really invite only. I have taken paid sponsorships before, and this is a Make More Money podcast to show you exactly how the other people have made more money. One of the guys that I knew of before, and I was so excited to see him speak at Dre's Miami Mastermind, is AC Hampton. AC Hampton is certified with Shopify. When I first did my merch store, okay, and my first little drop shipping debacle that I had back in 2017, I watched this guy grow out of the norm, and people used to come to me for coaching consulting. So I looked up some people that I could send them to, because my whole thing was, I'm not going to teach you if I'm not the expert. This was the guy. That's my little introduction, how I know you. AC, I was so excited when I saw Dre had you there and you toured on stage. But for those who don't know about you, why don't you give a 60, 90-second wrap about you?
Yeah, man. So welcome everybody to the podcast. Thank you so much for inviting me. My name is AC Hampton. A little bit about me is I'm an e-commerce entrepreneur, helps people start, build, and run profitable e-commerce businesses. For myself, this all started from dropshipping. I started dropshipping back in 2017. I was able to generate around 10 to $12 million in sales just from me running my own brands that I'm still continuously running today. From that brought a lot of attention from people wanting to learn from me. So I started an education company called Supreme Ecom, teaching people how to start, build, and run profitable e-commerce businesses, where the main goal is to take people from drop shipping into actual brand ownership. And that's kind of one of the main things that we look to achieve. We've been able to have, luckily within the last 5 years, cumulative student results of around $64 million in sales. And we also have released multiple softwares in the e-commerce space to further help people succeed with their, with their e-commerce education and just the success overall. And yeah, that's a little spill about me. I live out here in Dallas, Texas, and looking to just continue to inspire, as many people as I can.
Okay, perfect. And by the way, before I moved to Midtown Miami, I almost moved to Legacy West, Texas. You know where Legacy West is?
Yeah. I used to, when I was working my job, when I first moved out here in Dallas, I was doing outside sales, stacking wine in different like Walmarts and Targets. And that Legacy West area was my district.
Yeah, it was, and dude, it was on my vision board. And where I live in Midtown Miami is very similar to it. But me and my brother during COVID, I think I got a gig speaking on Amazon Prime show. It was actually called My Dreams Keep Me Awake, which became my merch store. And during then, I that's when I started stretching my thing, and I love that area. I love everybody from Dallas. So maybe we'll do some event down there, and I'll have you speak. Because dude, you killed it. So those who don't know, obviously we know this. The one thing I liked about you the most, and this is why we relate, is I always want to guarantee client success. Okay, being there's so many coaches, anybody coach and stuff, and you could just make a buck really quick of taking money, selling someone a course, right? What I did in very short time was I moved out to Miami. I sold a 4 unit. My end goal is to build. I'm sitting, by the way, our honorary sponsor is Heal Coffee Shop. I'm sitting in a coffee shop. My end dream is to build my own coffee shop called Kokomo Jay's one day. My brother's name was Jay. Unfortunately, I lost him in drugs, fentanyl. He passed away. So I moved here to build and honor him. He was out here in Miami. He married a girl, and he was trying to get his family back. And it was a very unfortunate situation, but that became the entrepreneur journey where just like Gary Vee owning the Jets, I was like, all right, I'm going to document whatever it takes to build a coffee shop. And through the journey, I tried everything very similar to one of the kids on the thing where I was buying so many different things, one time was drop shipping. So tell people really quick about why client success. Well, actually, let's do this. What was the first that got you into drop shipping? What did you first see? What were you trying to get out of?
Yeah, so it's like 2017. I'm a senior in college. I went to the University of Missouri, and I was in a situation where I was about to graduate in about like 6 to 7 months, and I was just like really trying to figure out what I was going to do next. And my roommate at the time was in the same area as me. Like I'm seeing him like struggling, at normal college students, like we don't really have a lot of money. And then like 2 weeks go by, and I see this man like buying sections and bottles and all this stuff when we're in college, and I'm like, yo, like you were just broke. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you just told me you had $100 and now we're going out and you're taking care of everybody. Like, what did you do? And he's my roommate. And he was like, yo, I started drop shipping. At that time, he was selling like diamond, like fake chains and stuff like that and drop shipping them. And I was just like, okay, cool. Like, I want to do it too. I want to make money. And he's like, okay, start a Shopify store. So I opened up a store, and within probably about 30 minutes, I shut the whole store down because I was like, yeah, this is way too much. Like, this is not for me. I didn't think it was going to take, like, all I thought was I would just make money, and I didn't know how to do all this work. So I shut the store down. I was like, it is what it is. And after that, I ended up taking multiple different interviews for multiple different jobs. My main goal was to not go back to Kansas City, which was where I'm originally from, just through, drugs and violence and stuff like that. So right when I was doing that, applying for jobs, I ended up getting a job offer in Dallas, Texas, and I moved out to Dallas. And long story short, I took this job, and during that time of me working in the first 90 days of this job, and if any of you guys are watching, when you get a job, you have that 90-day ramp up where it's like that trial period. I ended up getting robbed right when I moved out to Dallas. So somebody like crowbarred my door in and stole a lot of my stuff, which included my work clothes. And like I called my job, I was like, yo, I don't have like clothes to come to work in. And they were like, well, you're in your 90 days. Like, you don't have PTO or sick days. Like, you need to come in. I was like, well, I can't come in. Led to me getting a suspension, led to me getting like, different problems at work, which ended up getting me in a situation where I had like 30 days to like turn around my numbers and show who I was to work at this business. So over those 30 days, I was like basically, going all in on trying to figure out different ways to make money. And I was super interested in selling sneakers at the time. I was already selling sneakers for like 5-6 months. I was building up an Instagram page where I was like flipping sneakers, where my supplier would send them directly to the customer. And, I'm just like promoting all the pictures and videos that my plug basically had, not knowing what I was doing was drop shipping at that time. And I ended up making around like $25,000 from doing this over the span of like 5 to 6 months. Basically from the day I graduated up into that moment of me getting robbed. After doing that, I was like, okay, I need to figure out I need to figure out what to do. Right when I was sitting there trying to figure out what to do and going all in on the sneaker business, I ended up getting fired from that job because I wasn't doing what I needed to do when it came to like, I guess, the output they were expecting in those 30 days. So I ended up getting fired on that job on November 24th, 2018.
What was that job? What was it?
I was working for Southern Glaciers. So I was a outside sales rep where I was like stacking wine and building wine displays in Walmart, Targets, Kroger.
Gotcha. I know it. Yeah.
Doing all of that. And yeah, once I got fired, literally the day I got fired, an ad showed up on my screen of being like, have you ever heard of dropshipping? You want to get started? I have a mentorship, da 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 da. And I had like maybe $1,400 in my account at the time. The mentorship was about 1,000. And I was like, cool, like I don't have anything else to do. And I'm out here in Dallas by myself, no friends, no family. So, maybe this is a sign. Like I just got fired. Maybe this is a sign. And, I bought the mentorship and they said it was going to be a one-on-one mentorship. And it ended up being like a mentorship where I hop on the call and it's like 300 people on the call, completely the opposite of everything that they sold me. So it set me back in an even worse position, but I ended up making, some great success past that mentorship after learning how to really learn how to do it myself, which we'll talk about probably further inside this podcast. But that's kind of how I got started from the very beginning.
Yeah, it's funny. We have very similar stories. I mean, I think every entrepreneur journey is. I used to flip phones back in the day and flip stuff back in the day, right? Didn't even realize that. And it would fast forward. I very similarly bought, I thought it was $1,000. It was actually King Keto. Brandon Carter spoke at Breakthrough. It was a Sam Jacobs event. And I bought the $1,000 program, How to Make Money on Social Media, right? And at the time, he sold like, go buy fake followers and sell them here. That was like his like little like thing. And I didn't know. People were like, oh, do you think that was a scam? I was like, no, there was a few kids in it. And fast forward, I was actually on this podcast. One guy was like, oh, I paid a coach like $25,000. So I wound up searching out different coaches. I found a guy who did the whole ebook to course webinar thing. I paid $7,800 for like 6 calls with him. And then I thought it was going to be more extended calls for another membership, and I was in a whole bunch of them. And I will say the $7,800 for 6 calls, I did figure out how the whole ebook webinar system worked, and that was able to get on from then. But I know the problem of going in once and being a sea of it and not being in there. So that's one thing I think that resonated so much with me. By the time I found you, you were a Shopify partner, right? But because the thing is that when I worked with Sam, we coded an AI software and we were pitching it together. And what basically happened was we wound up just getting the drop shipping. I had these hoodies I used to wear. So because I liked the product, I put the product out there, right? And then I saw other people, because the product was undercutting the product and selling it because it was like kind of a hot product. We sold a few and we got crushed. And then I was like, oh my goodness, I don't think I get this whole. They were using my brand likeness to push the hoodie. And one of the guys were doing stuff. So I realized how tough drop shipping was. We lost a lot of money in that starting it. So your second time around, you pay for the mentorship, right? Then what? You found the product, you sourced the product that like hit well.
Yeah, so like I joined this mentorship, and like I said, there was like 300 people on this call. So like what I can say that this man had was like a community of people, right? So I started going in the Facebook groups of this community. I'm like, yo, did anybody else like get scammed on this mentorship? Like, did anybody else like get told one thing and it's not the case? And like all these people started replying. And I remember one of these guys, his name was Reese. He responded back to me. He's actually been my mentor when I was first coming up. And he's like, yo, like that same situation happened to me. But, like I did kind of take a lot of initiative to learn this myself. So if you ever want to like get some extra help, like I'd be more than welcome to help you out. So he gave me a couple quick like free calls and showed up and taught me a couple of different things, just one-on-one between me and another guy who's in the community. And that led me to finding my first product, which was on December 24th, 2018, basically 30 days right after I joined. And I found a mobile screen phone enhancer where you basically like lean your phone against it and it like goes bigger on a screen.
Oh, yeah.
And in that moment, I was just like, oh, like I just feel like old people would love this, So I just like went all in on just like trying to sell it to old people, and I tapped into the right market. I ended up making around $120,000 in sales in 30 days. And I profited around like $23,000 from it. But I got taught on how to sell products, but I didn't get taught on how to run a business. So out of like making that 22,000 profit, fast forward like 30 days later, I end up losing like 18,000 of that 22,000 profit because I just didn't know I was supposed to be like fulfilling all these orders on time and doing customer service and stuff. My account got shut down. My ads got disabled. My Shopify store shut down. I ended up walking away with like 4,000 profit, which was better than where I, started off with. But I could have been at $22,000 profit if I would have, treated the business like a business. So, it was a good learning lesson, but that, led me to a lot more from that learning lesson.
Now, what became of your core values and your like, because everything in business now knowing business, right? Because that was 2018, we're in 2026, right? You've done some stuff. You're now a Shopify partner. You have a very established brand online as well. How did you, what are some core values? Like, if you had one word to sum up you, what it means, what would you say that one word would be?
I say like probably we practice what we preach. I mean, that's one of the biggest things. You know, we have three core values in our business, with one of them being we practice what we preach, which basically says like you're learning from people who are doing the same things that you are wanting and that you're trying to learn from. It's like I'm not going to ever sit here and teach you something that I'm not either doing myself and that's not currently working today. I've joined mentorships. I've seen the e-com space. I've seen other business industries where these gurus come out of nowhere because they had success one time, and one-time success is not what it's going to take to have people actually have a system that they can learn from. So one of the main things is like, myself, all the, my consulting team, we all run multiple different brands and stores, so that what we're doing is we're teaching people the things that we're just applying on our own brands on a day-to-day basis. So I say that that's probably one of the biggest.
Yeah, which I love, by the way. And one reason why I love that is because there's three ways to teach, right? Theory, which nobody has respect. Me being a teacher, we used to teach out of a book, which is basically teaching out theory, right? Witness is you watch somebody do it. Maybe one of your students in an application has actually done it, right? So what would you say, like your childhood growing up, like you grew up in Kansas City. I know Kansas City is not tough. A lot of people listen to this podcast. So just so you know, a little back history. I used to be a behavioral skill middle school teacher. I used to teach behavioral middle school kids. And they just didn't have moms and dads. They didn't have a lot of stuff. And I used to I wound up buying a Grant Cardone course, and I was still teaching money management. I made them do millionaire math, and I made them do the cash flow quadrant. You know what that is, right? In school. Yeah. And I had all these dreams to move to Miami, build this coffee shop, and honor my brother. And the kids were telling me to stop being a teacher. Like, you're not going to get here this way. But then they started listening. So what would you speak to one of the kids? Maybe they're not in the best city, the best circle of people, right? And tell a little bit, maybe your story there, speaking to that avatar right there.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Like I was in the same predicament. I would say like number one, best thing you can do as a young adult is like get out of your city. That was one of the biggest things for me was like once I got out of the city and I saw more life than what I was just accustomed to, that automatically changed my brain. Like I've never seen a Rolls Royce or a Lambo. I've never seen Black people who are actually successful. Like I've never seen any of that. When I moved out here to Dallas, it was like I noticed it within week one. Like it changed literally within 1 week, like my mentality completely changed out here because I was like high rises, like luxury cars, like successful people. These people are like 25, 24. Like if they can do it, I can do it too. Like that was like one of those big things for me. So being in the right environment, being in the right space, I think that's extremely important. So getting out of your hometown can help you do that. And I would say just having a dream that you're obsessed with. Like I've been obsessed with the same dream since I was like 8 years old, and like it never changed. It was creating generational wealth. It was breaking the generational curses of what my parents continuously pushed, on me, and just giving myself a better life. I knew like I wanted an amazing like life for myself. I just needed to do what it took to get there. I've been a hustler early on. So I think like just listen to who you are. Like I've never changed as a person. Like I had that hustle and that drive since I was like 12, like I just never shut off that voice in my head that said, you know what, like this is who you are. This is what you want more. So like, just stay true to yourself and you'll get there. So I think moving out of your hometown, staying true to yourself and knowing your why of why you want success in the first place is extremely important because you're going to go through hiccups. You're going to go through ups and downs. You're going to go through a lot more downs than ups, especially when first starting off. And you need to be in the mentality of like, okay, hey, this is just one L. That's not a loss. It's just a learning lesson to my future self, and that's kind of some of the big things I would say to some kid that's in the same situation as me.
Yeah, by the way, I think that's huge and very similar to me. We grew up renting, probably not in the most richest place. We finally got the dream house. My mom died of breast cancer with no life insurance. So I was always helping my dad and hustling a little bit earlier to pay back and protect my dad. But I stayed in Connecticut. We got before this call, you're like, oh, you're in Miami, right? And people say that. And I'll be totally transparent. When I moved out here, it was very tough. I was selling windows and bartending. And I was selling windows and bartending. I left teaching and I went to go sell windows because I figured if I could do 1099, then I could open my own business, right? Because you're kind of hustling for your own business. So I went from multimillionaire who owned a bunch of real estate. He was the guy in town in Southington. I actually got a couple jobs because I was doing door-to-door for solar to run solar teams. One was in San Antonio, Texas. If it was Dallas, I might have done it, but I didn't want to go there. I was in Utah with them. I said no. I wound up staying home to really help my dad out, but also I learned from this guy, JC Tonight. I'll give him a shout out. He was a big mentor of mine. He taught me brand awareness, everything, good name, business, like so many systems, and real estate. I bought my first 4 unit. During COVID, all the prices went up. One of the guys who it's very similar to you, when he was like, bro, you got to move to Miami. You got to come to Miami. What are you doing in Connecticut? Right. He was just, and I always saw him and he was a little flashy. He had like the diamond set roll, and that's not me. Right. I'm more but I sold my 4 unit. I moved down here. I closed a couple mentorships for after learning the whole process for like 3K. I had 100K in my account. And dude, immediately when I was out here, like I live in a high rise now. Oh, there's all the nice cars out here. It elevated, like, man, I have to like keep up, right? And Miami has such a hustle to it. Like at least this Palm. West Palm's a little bit older money. I love Dallas, and it's funny because the place we live in, on my reality where it's very similar to that. But it was just crazy because he made 30K and he made 400K 1 month, and I was living with him, right? His name's Arturo. And it stretched my brain. And he was the one who kind of bullied me, bro, because he paid me $325 for a coaching call. Because my whole thing in coaching was pay me $250. You get to $2,500 online, or I'll give you your money back. Because I want to give. That's how it started. And people started making sick money. And he wound up paying $325 for the call. He made $10,000 that day. They made 30K. He had a funding course. He had like a funding to real estate course, right? So it stayed in the real estate name. And then I closed 350K clients. I built out the VA company that I showed you, right? Which was that. And here we are present day. But just recently I started helping out the coffee shop. This is Chesco. He's the man here. He's literally the man. This is AC. We're gonna have him on the podcast. He's Ziva's the restaurant now that I'm serving like my own. I'm writing a book called My Dreams Keep Me Awake. It's telling you'll probably be in this. Just being there, the way you spoke at the event and how you are in your heart. But Brian Tracy, who's one of Grant's mentors, said, hey, go take the local coffee shop. Be in it as much as you can if you really want to do that. And they have a sister restaurant, which is Ziva, which means light. That's the owner, actually, a young kid, stud. Nice, awesome. It's so cool. But anyway, so
I gotta take your advice on that coffee shop thing, though, for sure.
Wait, what do you say?
So I gotta take your advice on that coffee shop thing, like just surrounding yourself around other people. You know, like I stay in this office all day long, you know, but I gotta definitely get outside more.
Yeah, no, totally. I know he's having the vegan protein cookie here, dude. It is true. I actually was gonna get an office next door. They have like the borough and stuff. But the best thing ever to do is come out and work in, especially you're in Dallas, right? It's an amazing area there. I remember going out. Dude, one thing nice about Dallas, I don't think they charge for parking. Miami, they charge, right?
Yeah, no, they don't charge for parking. That is nice. Yeah,
that is nice. So nice. There was a guy with a Lambo, and he tipped the valet guy like a couple $100. I still remember seeing it when I was out there. I was driving a Ford Mustang convertible, and I remember watching it. It was one of those like, you know, just like nice country successful guys, right? Who was just like, nah, man, it's good. And the valet kid, because I did valet for a time, he was like, no, it's even better they don't charge because we always get tips and we get big tips here. He's like, I make a ton of money. It was right in that area. So what about you? What does your faith mean to you? Like, are you a Jesus guy? Do you believe in God? Are you Muslim? Where are you there?
I 100% believe in God. I think as I get older, that question is something that I've been trying to figure out a little bit more, just because I've always understood that, you know, there is a higher power. I believe, like, you know, when I sit there, I'm like, God, please, like, get me out of this situation or help me. Like, and I'm like praying to the higher, you know, above, like shit always comes to life. Like, so I know there is a higher power. I think I'm struggling a little bit with understanding exactly what religion means the best to me now. I got pushed religion on me extremely hard when I was a kid. You know, I was in the church like multiple days of the week. I was even in the church choir, like singing, you know, like I was, you know, someone who just did it at that moment because it was like, yo, my parents were like, yo, you're going to do it, you know, and that is what it is. But as I got older, I started like stemming away from it until around like 2 years ago, I started coming back to it. Not because like I'm necessarily like fearful of death or anything like that, but I am in a situation where, I mean, everybody wants to know what's going to happen, you know, like after you die, you know, and that's like something that, especially after having kids, like, you know, and I have a 4-year-old right now and I have another kid on the way. I just got in that moment of being like, you know, I just want to know what's going to happen. So I don't know if I have an answer right now, but I do know I believe in God.
Yeah, no, I did. You just have a good light about you. You have a good energy. And when we renamed Ziva, we did all the core values, and it means light and radiance to it, right? In Hebrew. And I've always, same thing, man. Dude, I got dragged to a Pentecostal church. They were all being weird, hopping up and down. Sunday school, I only liked because back in the day, there was this really cute girl, and then she wanted to do nothing with me. So then I hated Sunday school, right? This is when I was really young. And so I remember being in service like, this is so boring, right? And I think anything when you're kids, school too. But fast forward, I lost everything when I was in Colombia. I prayed to God. And it's funny, someone told me this, that someone out here, a Jewish kid, he does land procurement. He said, when you're a business owner, when you work at a job, it's you, manager, and then God. You have to answer to him. When it's you in a business, it's you and then God. There's like no other person, right? And I was like, wow, that's like so true. And so I did cry out to the Lord. Shalom and Nathaniel, who actually I will show, I don't know if I showed it on here. This is them in the Philippines here. We have a whole office out there now. We took them to dinner. This was me teaching. I just love it. They texted me the verse Jeremiah 20:11, which me growing up in the church, I did not know that verse at all. It means, for I know the plans I have for you, plans, purpose. I remember being on where it says, for I know the plans I have for you. Oh, sure, I'm going to forget it. To prosper, right? And I remember saying prosper was like, okay, well, I need money. I'm at zero. The IRS wiped me out. I prayed, and then I got it for texting me twice. I'm going on to sell an automated webinar. This guy, Emmanuel Busan, who I wound up speaking at his events, he had a ring. He's like, I'm not going to buy your webinar now, but I have this ring, Jeremiah 20:11. I want to give you this first. So I went home in Medellin, Colombia. That guy that I was in Medellin. I got on my knees. I prayed to give it to him. Shout out to my buddy. This is why it's good to live at Arturo. He structured the offer. The lady wound up wiring me $30K the next day by the grace of God back in Miami. So I told the Lord, I made a vow to him, I'll always put you first. Nathaniel asked if I could get Charlie Kirk on my podcast. And when I was young, my mom used to be very pro-life into stuff like that. So I was always involved into that. So we agreed to have him on, and I was like, didn't know if this was good for the brand or not, because he's very, more political, right? Even though I want to go that realm one day. And then obviously he got assassinated. And when he got assassinated, I was at Tony Robbins' event. No, it was at Patrick McDavid's event, Tony Robbins, and a girl took a picture of me, Jeff J. Cunningham. She's like, don't silence your voice. So you're watching me still do the Make More Money podcast. We're in branded Jeff J. Cunningham. We're going to talk more cultural things. I'm going to talk God, family, and freedom, unabashedly. That's me. If it offends anybody, it's because I believe where you're going. If I really believe what I believe and I have love for you and what you do, then it's the greatest news. You know what I mean? And
Sure.
I go to a VU church out here, which is a very popular church, right? Like Justin Bieber, in Miami, everything's popular. So people kind of hate on it, but Pastor Rich and everything, he's going to be on this podcast. And I just think for me, faith, it's almost like if you accomplish everything, right? So there's a whole verse, if you accomplish the world and lose your soul, which now what we're seeing, more so than ever in America is more people sell out for power and authority, right? And really lose it, So I think it scared a lot of people back to God, right? In a way. So it's cool, man. I love it because to me, there's no other name like Jesus. And I'm very bold about it. And I got to be careful on the Make More Money podcast, because it's like I never want to do the prosperity gospel where it's like Jesus will make you money and rich. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I think you can become rich or richer without Jesus, right? Just biblical business fun. And either way, it's hard. Business is not easy at all. Even today, I'm sure there's stuff. Because by the way, speaking of current events, did you get hit by any of the tariffs, drop shipping products and stuff and everything like that? Did that hit you?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely started to affect us a little bit, but luckily the supplier that we work with, they do have multiple warehouses in Europe and Spain and United States, not just in China. So right when all that stuff started happening, I was like, yo, move all our stuff to Europe immediately. So right when they moved everything over, it made it I had a 2-week little problem because I was just waiting on the product to make it over. But after that, I was fine. So yeah, I caught it luckily early on, and our supplier is pretty flexible with myself and all of our students to make sure that we get the right type of delivery. So yeah, it ended up working itself out. But I was a little nervous when it first started happening.
But that's part
of
it.
At the same time, the biggest thing I started reading at that moment was just Walmart, Target, all these big brands in the world were struggling with tariffs. And they're like, you want to know what's going to happen if we get charged more for tariffs? We're going to increase our prices. That's just going to be normal. We have to protect our margins to keep our staff happy and this, that, and another. And at that moment, I was like, that 2 weeks where I was struggling, I was like, I'll just increase my price. Like, I'll cover the margin with my price because I understand the quality behind what I'm offering. And, it didn't really affect much for me with that 2 week of me changing it. So I actually ended up keeping that price on even after I got the products shifted over, because I was like, look, like I can cover this $5-6 per product just by adding a higher quality shipping or shipping protection or some type of upsell or anything like that. So it's just business. Like, shit's gonna happen. It is what it is, but how you adapt, is how you kind of see the success that comes from it.
Which is what I love about you, dude. I get it. That's like the pedigree that people don't teach in business. It's like, do you ever play sports or no?
Yeah, my whole life I play sports. Yeah.
What sports did you play?
Basketball and football. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm the same. And it's like I played quarterback, and it's like a play will break down. There's gonna be blitz you don't see. You're gonna have to adapt. You're gonna have to make the best out of it, right? So for me, and being like playing sports made it be like you have to adapt. You have to talk to a team. Like I've used so many skill sets, right? In building teams too. There's all different personalities. You got to work them in. And I went to all the business coaching master. You ever go into any like coaching masterminds or like Patrick and David's events or any of that?
Yeah, I've been to more like ecom masterminds and like bid summits and like things like that. I do spend a lot of money on like buying like mentorships and things like that and advisory. But my goal is definitely to get out more and see more. That's why I went to the Miami mastermind. I was like, I need to be in more places and be around more people. So that's definitely one of the goals.
And we got connected, and I knew of you before. I might keep this on Shopify, but I'm more bigger than just this and bigger on people, right? Who you are. One of my clients, he's doing an event. Actually, I'll be at PBD's event in Vegas, and I'll be at X Pro events. He has like all the guys. It's in Vegas, 13, and he's like, bro, I'll cover your flight and your hotel. Just get, you're gonna be here. And he gave me my first chance because I want to get paid speaking. I was actually probably victim of like doing something once, and because I would document it, people were like, can you pay me how to do that? I was like, sure, but I didn't. So I got paid to speak one event, and then I helped people get multiple paid speaking events. But like I was just trying to make money. I was trying to survive, and I was never doing it in a way like to be never in a bad way. Just like, hey, this is how you build a speaker deck. This is what I did. You got to ask people, hey, the magic line, if you ever want to speak at an event, that I learned from Ted McGrath at an AI mastermind was, how many people that I use, how many people do I need to put on stage to get 15 minutes at your event? And that's what I did. And it led me on an event after Andy Elliott. Talk about a tough act to follow. And before Brad Lee. And I was right in the middle. Ami, he was on this podcast, but he put me on. So what's your let me talk about this. Well, let's do the Shopify and then we'll get into the next part of the podcast. But so you became a Shopify partner, which is crazy. And by the way, I had Shopify stores. Shopify got a lot of money on mine because I just had the subscription keep going and never did anything with it, right? And Shalom, part of the reason why I hired Shalom, one of my VAs, because she used to build Shopify stores. Because I still print out these shirts, okay? Inspired as always. My dreams keep me awake. It's just my brand. I wear my brand, right? And people used to buy them from me. So I used to sell my own t-shirts, right? This is back in the day. So everybody who I have does a webinar. One of the ticks that we do, if they buy the mastermind or get the course, we give a free t-shirt that says it's all in the numbers. And people will just buy for the t-shirt and they'll wear your brand. It's free, but it's free promo, right? And the key is you always put a slogan on it, like one of your words on it, instead of just your logo. Like, I feel like Go High Level would be so much better. I mean, they have so much money, they can do it. But if they put like cool slogans for Go High Level, than just the Go High Level hoodies they give out.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
And that's what I told Andy with Progretta. I own equity stake in Progretta, which is a Go High Level white label. And I'm going to start making out t-shirts for him with Progretta and like little things like, All right, we interrupt this podcast to talk to our sponsor. Our main sponsor is Progretta. Progretta is a CRM of Go High Level that I own equity in, that I helped Andy O'D network and grow, and now we're going to grow to the next level. If you want to be a Progretta certified customer, okay, which means you get all my templates, all my funnels, all the knowledge, and get access to me, then just try the free demo, okay? The link's going to be in the description. And Progretta is the CRM that I use to do over 100K in invoices, and you can too. And people have used different Go High Levels, but they haven't have the support or the community like Progretta is doing. Progretta, they care about your progression daily, and it is a newer company, but it's going for them. Speaking of newer companies and paid sponsors, for $500 you can get a sponsor spot right here. I'll read it on the next episode of the Mick Maroney podcast. And one of the sponsors that I have to mention is PowerWorks Co. PowerWorks Co. founded by Nathaniel. Okay, Nathaniel is a leader. He's a man of God, and he's duplicated multiple leaders like him. So many people would ask me, hey Jeff, can I have a team like yours? Well, yeah, you can with PowerWorks Co. PowerWorks Co. is highly trained in AI, and with any AI agents, anything you're overwhelmed with, go book the link below, fill out an intake form. If you're the right fit and you need a helper, and maybe you're trying to do all this stuff, your podcast, webinar, book, all the stuff that I do, then see if maybe PowerWorks Co. is a fit for you. Without further ado, let's get back to the podcast. That as well. So what are some slogans or taglines that you have? If you had to wear a shirt, you would say like that would be?
The first one's definitely going to be men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Like that's been one of the main things I tell people all the time. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Like, I don't care what you guys have to say. Like, we can pull up the dashboards right now. And so that's one of them. The second one is proper preparation prevents poor performance. It's like the 5 Ps. I've been living by that for like a long time. Like, if I just overly prep, then I will have the performance that I'm looking for.
Say that again. Say that again.
Proper preparation prevents poor perforance.
Yeah.
That
good.
was one. And then I'd say like the third one is, invest in people who are doing exactly what you want to do in this world. It's like, you got to take advice from people who are doing what you want to do right now. Like, because it's going to be super hard to take advice or watch a YouTube video or buy a course or a mentorship or anything from anyone who did it 3-4 years ago, who's not relevant to what is currently happening now. So I say like those are kind of like my big 3 that I'm like, my whole staff can say it to you. Like, they're like, what does AC always say? I'm like, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Like, so yeah, those would be like my top 3.
By the way, speaking of that, and I want to get into relationship. Are you married? Do you have kids or anything?
Yeah, I have a fiance, and we have a 4-year-old, and then we have one on the way.
Yeah, I can tell you carry yourself like that way, like very, very established. But one thing, like when you played sports, I remember I didn't like practice at the time. I'd show up to practice, I wouldn't get reps, right? And it was one of my coaches who got to me, and you just saying that, proper practice, and he showed me like why I should love practice, right? And I was always Mr. Allen. We talking about practice? Like, I just want to play.
Talking about practice,
right?
Yeah,
right. And then I remember just becoming better because of all the stupid foot drills and everything. And I'm pigeon-toed, man. I have every reason not to succeed. And like I was always told an athlete, oh, Jeff's got a lot of heart, and I always thought that was the worst thing. Like, no, that's great. I'm like, that means I have no talent. You know what I mean? But I wound up, because of practice and preparation, wound up starting games and playing football, and that gave me the most confidence. I think Les Brown says, you get confidence, you think I'll do that. So and that was one of the hardest things I had to go through. Like,
I think that's stems it too, like what people see nowadays. Like, I always try saying that, like, people see this lifestyle that people like me or other people are living, but they don't see like from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. working like 7 days a week. They don't see the early mornings, the late nights. Like, everybody only sees the game performance, but they don't see all the work that went into the practice. And 95% of like what you see from success in a game comes from the practice. Like, it makes the practice so much easier, or makes the game so much easier, because it's like, I've already overly prepared for this. Like, I know everything that's going to happen. I was even just listening to this podcast from Tom Brady about him being in the Super Bowl like 3 years ago against the Chiefs. And he was like, you want to know something that's crazy? Is like, I knew every single thing that they were going to do before they did it. And like, that was big for me. He's like, if they ran a blitz, like, I knew exactly where they're running a blitz. I knew exactly what I needed to do, where to throw it off. Like, every single play, I watched so much film. Like, there was nothing that they did that the second that the ball, was hyped, that I within a split second, I knew what was going to happen, and that's like that, like, over preparation, where he can visually see everything that's happening on the field, where he can react so quick just because he's done the due diligence up front. So that's something
it meant so much. I'll probably have Brady on this podcast at one point, just by how it is. It meant so much for me for Brady to win that Super Bowl against the Bucs. Win with the Bucs against the Chiefs, only because he was a Patriot. I grew up a Giants fan. I never liked him and Belichick. Belichick reminded me of one of my coaches that I didn't like. I didn't like them together. But as soon as he left, I was rooting for him like crazy, right? And we were actually at a business mastermind, and the guy was like, who wants to go watch the Super Bowl here? And you would be scared. I kind of wanted to. I remember just tracking the score, and they just crushed him in that Super Bowl. I remember just seeing that process later on, which was just exactly true. That's what it is. And it makes me think too, man, what are some things in life that I can prepare for now, right? And I think this is all of us, right? That like sometimes if we go and wing it, and you get lucky, but say it again,
Proper preparation prevents poor performance.
poor performance.
Yeah.
Dude, I love it. I love it. This is great. So, okay, so
It's
what's
literally right in front of me. I'm literally staring at it right now.
Dude, I was gonna say, yeah, if you're in the that's the biggest thing. I went to really I was doing when I was doing one event, this girl invited me to what is it called? I'll give them a shout out. It's called Food Court or Market Fresh. It was some place, and she was one of the people in the office. I went in their office, and I'm an entrepreneur. They had all their core values, all their number of sales. It was like a huge thing, and I was such a fan. And she just worked there. She was an employee. She's like, "What? You're not supposed to be in here. You're not supposed to take pictures." I think I took pictures of it because I was like, "I love that, right?"
Yeah.
And even
That's
that,
throughout our whole office. Like the men lie, women lie, numbers don't.
Yeah.
That's the biggest quote on the wall in the sales team. Like when you go in the sales room right here, like straight up, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Because I don't want to talk about things if you're not going to be bringing in numbers. In the consulting room, it says generational wealth loading. Like that's like, one of our main things we want to help people create generational wealth. So it's like all these slogans, are all over this office right now. And it keeps me motivated every time I see it.
one thing I love about the owner here at Chesco that you just met, he said that he wants everybody at the restaurant to know all the sales. And one of the girls at the time was like, why should they know that? And I was like, no, he gets it, right? And we all talk like collectively, like what we did for sales, right? In the thing. And by the way, you want to build a business for love, coffee shop or restaurant isn't the most profit. It's like hospitality, right? We're all reading the book, Take It Personally by Dave Grutman, which is a great book right now. It's like Unreasonable Hospitality. Because I always want people's mindset to like take everything personal, every interaction with every person. So what are some things with your team, your sales team? Because I have no doubt that I refer more people to you. They'll have a white glove experience by how you lead, how you are. What are some things that you take personally with your own team when they get on with a client who maybe wants to get into mentorship for drop shipping,
Yeah, I mean, the number one thing is that we're not here to sell features and benefits, but we're here to enhance people's lives and ensure that their dream and the perceived value that goes inside of that dream can be brought into life with whatever time constraints they have or whatever money constraints that they might be having. It's just like making sure that we're painting a picture to them that is reality on our side, but they just can't see it because they don't know it until they know it. So it's like the credibility is the most important thing. Anyone can sell a mentorship. I can be like, yeah, we have 24-hour, customer service, and we take 3 one-on-one calls a week. And this, like, people, like, they don't care about that. People don't buy iPhones because it can store 60 different apps on the screen at one time. They buy it because of how convenient it is and how fast it moves and how much time it saves them and the perceived value of using the phone. So for me, it's like you have to understand who the person is and just literally paint our what we do and the credibility behind what we do to this specific character. So you can't pitch to a single mom like you pitch to a restaurant worker or pitch to a high school kid who doesn't want to go to college or a college person who's trying to drop out or somebody that's a recent grad. Every single person is different, has different experiences, different backgrounds, but they all have the same desire. And you have to understand what that desire is. Is it not to live paycheck to paycheck? Is it to take care of their mom? Is it because they just had a newborn and they're trying to give them a better life? You have to figure out what their wants, their desires, and what their beliefs are, and package, the offer that we have into that no-brainer offer that brings that belief to life because they can see it, they can feel it, they can believe it, they can see other people who are similar to them achieving it, right? Like that's why I believe so big in testimonials because like I don't have to sell this mentorship. I don't care to sell a feature and benefit of this mentorship. I can pull up 10,000 testimonials right now. Like I can sit here and just run that on replay on this whole entire sales call because that is the credibility. The Shopify education partner. We're the only e-com dropshipper Shopify education partner in the whole world. Like, we're the only people who've been doing this for 7+ years. We're the only people who've done this with 10,000 plus students. Like, we talk more about, like at the end of the day, I could talk about features and benefits all day long, but it's really putting ourselves in the user's shoes and helping them imagine that they can actually succeed with the credibility and the foundation that we've been able to build over the last couple of years.
Yeah, dude, and that's why I wanted to be on this podcast. You know how many people, because by the way, you're on a podcast with Elena Cardone, Bradley's been on, all these guys to make more podcasts, right? I had all the big names when I came on first, but then so many people they didn't have the core values that you had, who did a Shopify store maybe once, or not even that, Amazon store, that whole deal. Actually, it's funny. how do you vet people? Because I spoke on a stage in Vegas and I sold my first mastermind in Cancun. Okay. We did the no-brainer offer mastermind, how to build a no-brainer offer, right? And there was this one kid who was hustling. He's now ruined his name. But I knew I didn't want him to go to the event. I didn't want him to come to my mastermind, right? He wound up coming and he wound up selling. And I feel bad. I don't want anybody to do it, but I feel bad for all. I told everybody not to buy his stuff. I was like, I haven't vetted him. Like, I'm very clear. By the way, you know how entrepreneurs, we just have a golden gut about people. We can just kind of and some people don't have that. I thought everybody had that, right? So anyway, people bought his whole stuff, and it was one of those like, you invest $5,000, this Facebook store makes you money repeatedly, and we pay it. And then once he got like 400K, the back office ran with the money, and nobody got their money back, right? One of those stories, and it was very sad. It kind of scared me away because when I sold money for my mastermind, people are like, who's this guy selling a mastermind? But so many people want to hang out with me. I was like, look, I'll just teach you everything I learned. Come to Cancun with me. So I've been afraid to do that again. I'm not. Now I've been in the word more. Satan will do two things. He'll either give you ego and say you're great and you don't need God, or he'll keep you fair and put you down. And that's why you see all these fighters give the credit to the Lord. I never got that when I was young. I get it now because like you have to give him credit. Like everything that I've done or we've done, it has to be a Howard, right? It can't be just us naturally alone, you know? And so what were some things that, because, you know, when my brand started taking off and whatever, it's not even what your brand is, people started like being like, who are you? And I started letting it affect me. What are some things that you got? Like, did you ever get that as well? Like being like in there, like, hey, like people talking about you?
Yeah, I mean, like, luckily, like, and I actually like am thanking God for this. Like, luckily, I knew who I was before I made money, and I think that was like one of the biggest things that I'm just so grateful for. Is like I knew like deep down who I really, really was, and I just feel like a lot of people, I see it all the time. Like they come up and they get this ego and this mind of like I'm better than everybody else, or I should be in these rooms because I deserve to be in these rooms, or I deserve to get the credibility and respect that I deserve just because I made X amount of money. And it's like, that was never me. Like, you know, for me, I deserve the, you know, everything that I've been able to accomplish because I've done the work, you know, like, and I've hustled for it. And I've done the, you know, 10,000 plus hours of mastering this craft, 40,000 plus hours mastering this craft. You know, so it's like it was easy for me early on even when I was making all this money that like I was able to stay true to myself because I knew why I was starting this in the first place. Like, and you know, I always, you know, I'm still not even where I want to be at yet. So like for me to walk in a room and be like, I'm this or that, but I haven't even achieved all the things I'm trying to achieve, I don't feel any different than like the normal person because everybody has desires, wants, and beliefs of where they want to get in this world. And like, I'm just like them. It's not like I've achieved all the things that I want to achieve. And, you know, some people look at me and they're like, AC, but you know, you've done this, you've done that, you had the cars, got the house, you've been able to achieve all this. Like, what are you talking about? I'm like, just because like on the outside, it looks like I achieved your American dream, it doesn't mean that I achieved mine, you know? And I think that that's like, one of the biggest things for me is like I'm just hungry. Like I have a desire for more. I'm not where I want to be at yet. So I don't like and I just treat everybody the same. Like I treat the janitor the same way I would treat, you know, a high-end, you know, CEO exec, because like at the end of the day, like we're all human beings. Like money doesn't define who you are as a person. I've known people who like I've been in rooms with guys who are worth 200 million, 300 million. And I thought early on in my career that like, oh my God, like I gotta be with these people. I gotta hang out with these people. But then when I realized that, you know, they might not be the best people, or they might not have the best values, or they might treat people like not the right way. You know, you got to start really understanding who people are deep inside more than just like how much money they have. And it took me some time, especially early on in my career, to understand that. But I'm now at that position where like, you know, I want to surround myself around high value people who have the same type of values as me. Because I don't want to change who I am, and you are a product of your environment. It doesn't matter if you are so strong internally, you know, you can be convinced around other people that you like to treat different things different ways. So I just like very picky with who I surround myself with, or where I go, or who I'm around, because I just want to be, you know, around the people who have the same values as me.
Yeah, no, dude, 100%. I totally agree with that. And that's why I connect. It's funny, even here, right before we came here in the coffee shop in Heel, I tipped both. They always give me coffee here, right? So I tipped them, you know, pretty big tip, right? And dude, I just loved it. I tipped one of the janitor girls out here because we're in this whole system, and it just felt good because I saw it. It's not even the best, but like a lot of times too, I want to create the culture of giving, right? So there's not greed, especially in Miami. Everybody's competing, like that's just how it is. Like everybody who's got more. It's almost like too much hustle. Like calm down, right? So
Yeah.
the one thing we did, I love it. Don't get me wrong, but like sometimes people they are competing at superficial stuff. So a lot of times when I bring it down to like what truly matters, right? It feels great. And then there's abundance in that. What's one thing that you like your main mentor, like can anybody do drop shipping? Because I tried. I kind of like with everything there. And it was tough, man. I don't think it's really for me, like sourcing products. Because explain for someone who doesn't know, like you have to like explain for someone who doesn't know, you have to drop ship. I mean, I know it because I did it, and like
Yeah, I mean, dropshipping is basically a business model where you find a product, you find the product market fit behind the product to make sure that it can sell. Basically, just working off of what is already working in the market for other people and making it work for you in a different way. You then build a store around it, and then once somebody comes to your store and you're running ads to drive traffic to your website, and somebody buys it from you, you buy it from your supplier, and then your supplier sends it directly to your customer without you having to buy or hold any inventory up front. So you're kind of like that middleman of just making sure that you're driving traffic to sell products online. And, can anybody succeed with dropshipping nowadays? 1,000%. But the industry's changed. It's changed crazy in the last even year, especially with AI and everything like that. I think the barriers to entry are a lot lower, but with lower barriers to entry, it increases the competitors who are coming into the market. And that's clearly what's happening. I mean, dropshipping is worth about $550 million market right now. By 2030, they're evaluating it to be worth $1.3 billion. So it's a huge growing industry. But things have changed, and you have to take advantage of the new processes, the new systems, AI, and utilizing the things that are going to help you enter in the market the right way. And I think that that's something that a lot of people are, struggling with a little bit, is they find the right product and then they're sitting there taking 30 days to hit the market. And then by the time they hit the market, there's already 5-10 competitors who are scaling because they're able to do it faster than you. So yeah, it's all about the speed of delivery, how fast you can enter the market, finding the right type of product that has the right type of product market fit. But literally, like right now, I genuinely believe that like anybody can succeed with dropshipping. Like when I first started, it would take me 2 weeks to build out a Shopify store. You can get a Shopify store built right now in under 10 minutes for 100% free. Like I have a whole entire software that can be able to do that. Finding winning products, I'm sitting there scanning Facebook and looking through ads for hours. Like there's product research platforms that can find you winning products in minutes. Creating ads, like you had to go and hire a UGC creator, spend $500, hope you get the right type of feedback, or you're going to have to do revisions. You have to send them the product. So like this whole process of trying to get ads created for your product is taking 3 weeks plus hundreds of dollars, where you can use platforms right now like Ecom Boss, where you can literally have a creative made for you in under 10 minutes, multiple different angles, multiple different avatars, people holding the product, using the product, and et cetera, just by knowing what tools you should be using. So I think it comes down to knowing the right processes, the right tools, and just like I said, learning from people who are doing what you want to do in this world. Because like in any industry, things are evolving quickly. And this is one of those industries that are evolving really, really quickly. And you just got to know what you should be using and how to use it.
Yeah, no, it's funny, man, because so when I sold my first 50K clients in the real estate space, one of them's building out trust webinars and all that stuff. I built out this VA company in the Philippines, and this one wound up getting flooded out, wound up flooding, right? We built this as well. This was before AI, this is before ChatGPT, right? So it looked all cool. And now we had to adapt. I had to train them all on agents. And what I realized, and you know this by being in it, AI is only as good as the prompts and the knowledge. So you have the 100%. Knowledge of what creatives works that the UGC creator has to do. It's not like you could just do it, right? Which I didn't realize. I would meet multiple people to pick my brain for coffee. I know you probably know how that is. And they would pull out their AI and just put it next to my mouth. And I realized, oh, wow, it's still the knowledge. Like we still are I know AI can surface it, but for at least right now, I don't know if we hit singularity yet. And let's talk about the future. You mentioned more of your dreams. What are some of your dreams now? that you have where you want to be then, kind of? Because you
Yeah,
built
I
all
mean,
that.
one of the main things is like we are looking to try to exit, these businesses in the next like 2 to 3 years.
Wait, why exit? Because same thing with me. I've never had an exit, but I hear all these entrepreneurs who have these like cool exits, right? And I
Yeah,
think it's
I'm
like,
okay with exiting as still like a temporary CEO and things like that. But exit because at the end of the day, like I know what it's worth. Like I know what it's worth. Like we have like amazing books, in place, like that show all the financials of the business. We've been able to get like some offers for it, which made me realize like, oh wow, like I can actually sell this thing. And so I mean, the goal for me from the very beginning was to build something up that's bigger than me. And like that's kind of like why I know if I exit, I can be able to get more funding, more like, obviously paying me back for my time and adding more resources to the business to impact and help more people. So that's one of the reasons. But yeah, after that, I really want to be able to start and scale, just continue to keep scaling these softwares for a little bit. From there, I'm going to be launching a business that's going to help other people who have a very strong skill learn how to package it and sell it as an info offer similar to what I do. And then after that, I just really want to be like a CEO advisor. I've been a CEO of Supreme Ecom now for 6.5 years. I've learned a lot through this. I have 50 employees who are all in house right now, and I've learned a lot from just what I've been able to do, and I want to help other people do the same. So that's kind of like where I can see the next 5 to 10 years being.
dude, how old are you, by the way?
I'm 29.
Okay, yeah, dude, you're so young, man. To have 58, that's the thing. I didn't start my journey. Like when I was 29, I was still drinking out with the wrong friends, right?
Yeah.
32 was when my brother passed away. I found a video by Grant Cardone, bought my first course online, changed my life, right? And then went through this journey. What's the one thing that and actually, it took me 3 years after I lost I was in a fog to really buy a course too. Like 2019 was really when I did it. I paid us in 2016. And my whole goal was to exit Changing Lives Consulting, my business, build all the monthly recurring revenue, buy out a shopping center, put the coffee shop inside it, buy the real estate, just like McDonald's does it, right? And that's still the dream, right? You don't lose that as well. What are some other what would you say the other dreams that you have? Okay, let's say now you exit your business, right? You have that, you have multiple exit, which is funny, dude. I'm such a connector. I don't know. I think yours is too established. My buddy Ami, the one that's doing the Vegas, he buys and sells ecom businesses. So he buys them, fixes up the system, and sells them. I don't know. I don't think I don't know. He's on here. He'll listen to this. But
Yeah,
okay.
we already have like we kind of do something similar. So like through the people who we bring through our program, our top students, we actually do gain equity of their businesses of certain clients who we scale with. So we have like 4 or 5 clients right now in our portfolio who we've been working with for like a couple of years that we're scaling them up like 7, 8 figure brands. But yeah, the whole goal is like gaining equity and growing a portfolio of Supreme Ecom. But yeah, some of my goals with that is just like the main goal is just like giving people who have a why, like the system to succeed with it. I've done it with already like drop shipping and e-commerce. I know I can do it with info. I know I can do it with other CEOs who are struggling with the same things that I have. So it's like, if you have a passion, that grit inside of you to want more, you like know you'll do whatever it takes. I just want to be around those people and help those people continue to grow no matter whatever it is that I'm doing. I've been able to already accomplish that for like the last 7 years. It's been great for me. It helps me sleep at night knowing I'm changing people's lives, and it's a good feeling. Like, and I want to continue to keep keeping that feeling for a while. So that'd be kind of like what my passion is for that.
Yeah, no, 100. That's one of the best feelings. I think that's part of the reason why I'll never leave this business. Like, although I did start an info business because I bought info and did that, it was so fulfilling watching like Nathaniel buy a new computer, buy a new iPhone, or people like this, like just little things like in the Philippines. Or then my client bought he's a multifamily, he bought his whole multifamily stuff. And there's probably some stories you could talk about. Some people who joined in and they're able to do stuff, right? And just the fact of us entrepreneurs, I remember talking to one of my mentors, said, Joe, he had everything, Range Rover, the house. I said, why do you do it? And he said, I really love paying my guys, right? And he loved paying it. And I never got that. Well, now I totally get it, right? It's just the feeling of like, that's how God's made us. He's made us as crazy as we are, our mind doesn't turn off to do it. We're the ones who stimulate the economy. You know what I mean? Which is just insane,
Sure.
right? And we get all the stress and stuff. So talk about this. What was like the toughest thing in your life that you went through that you had to overcome?
Yeah, it's definitely the crane collapse, like, so when the crane fell on my apartment and like, killed like a bunch of different people. So like, long story short, I gave the story earlier of me like making $22,000 profit, coming down and only making like 4,000 because I had all those chargebacks. I found that product December 24th, 2018, and ran all the way up until like February 1st, 2019. So from February up into May, I was in a situation where I was like, okay, well, I don't have a store, I don't have a product, I have to restart. So I'm like trying all these different products. I just cannot make one succeed. And then I end up getting an eviction on that apartment that I end up getting it crowbarred, and I end up getting robbed in. After those 3 months, I just had no money coming in, so I end up getting an eviction. Before getting evicted, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna leave. I got to go to another apartment. Like, so I end up exiting my lease, and I end up moving to a new apartment. Right after moving into that apartment, it was the first week of June that I move in, and then 6 days later, after moving in, the crane fell, and then I was like, wow, like, okay, I don't have a product, I don't have a store, I don't have money coming in. I just moved into a new apartment. I've only been in here for a week. Like, I don't even have clothes, a couch, or anything at this point. And, now I'm sleeping over here in this church, like with thousands of other people who lived in the same apartment, just trying to figure out what I'm going to do next. And, it was that moment, right then and there where I found the next product that I sold, which was a portable baby bed. And I was like, okay, well, I guess like, the first store that I made was like a general store that got shut down. So let me just make like a niche store. Like, I'll just make a niche store, and I'll, make it around this baby bed. So I was like, let me just call it like Lavish Moms. I'll just do like lavishmoms.com. The website's still up till today. Found the baby bed, and then, went from having like no sales for like 4 months to then like 2 sales day one, like 4 sales day two. Made my first $1,000 day like by week, like the end of the week. And I knew I had something strong in my hands that ended up scaling up to $1.7 million in 6 months, and changed my life forever. But it was like I was at the lowest moment of my whole life. Like, no car, no home, no clothes, like no, like nothing. Like, I'm just sleeping bag, and me and thousands of people who are surrounded, around me inside this church, all of us sleeping on the same floor. It was one of the hardest moments of my whole life. And I had the choice of like, go back to Kansas City, give up, and like, make it easy. I'm out here in Dallas alone. So it was like really like hard for me in that like first couple of weeks, because I was like lonely and sad from everything happening, or like turn all that frustration into like success. Like, I was super like frustrated. Like, I was like mad at that time. Like, I was so mad. Like, I was like, I was so mad that I like knew I was going to make something work, and it wasn't here. Like, so I was like manifesting like my anger into like getting into that next level. And, it ended up opening up some doors for me, that allowed me to have the success that I had. So that's kind of like what kept me pushing during that time.
Yeah, and I remember that was the first thing when you did your speech. You talked about it. You showed the news headline. I was like, oh my goodness. I feel like the Lord or God puts us through moments like that. Like, I relate totally to that moment. I remember being so angry that my own mistakes, because my dad didn't pay his taxes. Now I don't do this. I had AS off for real estate, and now I'm in this situation. It's all my fault. And I remember being so angry, I have to get out of it. And so I do remember like just more being in that way of that. So what? Okay, the last 5 questions. This has been, I've thoroughly enjoyed this podcast. It's probably one of my most favorite podcasts. Definitely in the drop shipping places. And so what's one thing? All right, these are the 5 questions. One thing you would, a lot of my former students teach this, right? I left teaching and started teaching info products partly because I believe the teaching system was horrible, and I told the principal I was going to change it. And I think mentorships like yours, this is why I give a platform to this, are way better than anything you do at Harvard. I tell everybody we're competing with Harvard, and it's way better. Like,
Yeah,
getting,
sure.
do you do certificates at like the AC Hampton school or
Yeah, we actually have the shop. I mean, we're backed by Shopify. So after they like succeeded in our program,
so there you go.
like,
Yeah, that's
get a
even
Shopify
like that's
certification
crazy.
stuff.
So
Yeah.
okay, what's one thing you would do? Because my end goal is to run for office probably one day, right? I've already accomplished more than I even thought was possible. So I want to run for office. That's what's going to be a new podcast. Maybe we'll have you back on and talk more cultural issues. What's one thing you would change in the education system?
Not putting the client first. Like, that's got to be the biggest. Like, I built this whole business around the client. Like, we have a CRM that's connected to, every single thing that we do, that's tracking every single day, every single hour, every cent that our clients spend, every single dollar that they make. We have a thing called our milestone tracker where, it tracks the whole success of the client from the day they walk into, until they end the program. And it's all fully centric around the customer. Like I tell the company all the time, like, I don't care about making money. The money comes from giving the clients the success. Like, you guys are so worried about getting the next sale or the next cold call or whatever. Like, I don't care about that shit. Like, all I care about is if you guys just put the customer first, the money will come. Stop worried about trying to make the money. Just worry about taking care of the customer and the money will come. And that's just like one of the biggest things that really took a big, like really helped this business grow, is like just the amount of success that we have from our clients. Like, our net promoter score is like over 90%. Like, we're getting like 3x like referrals on every customer that we're bringing in. I don't have to worry about always getting the next new lead because I put the effort towards the leads that we do have, so just being customer centric, I think, is one of the most important things, and like making that the main focus of what your objectives are, or what your goals are for your company, and stop making it only about revenue goals.
Yeah, by the way, I love that about you because that was my same thing. And I used to tell everybody before they work with me, go research me, go ask about Jeff the Entrepreneur, go ask everybody, go find out whatever you'd say. People say he has a lot of energy, he's probably in too many businesses, but the kid has a heart, everybody wins, he'll stay with you all the way through. And that was it. And the way you talked about your vision at Dre's event, and you talked about the 3 things to software code, someone asked a question, how you track the client's progressions and how you could do it and see what Shopify was cool. So that leads in the second question. What's the best money tip you have? Maybe for someone who's done pretty well. They've already hit 100K months, right? They're already doing pretty well, like in that realm. Let's talk.
And best money tip I could ever have, let's say you hit your first $100,000, is to stick in your lane. Like, stick in your lane. Like, there's the doubt. When you make a little bit of money, let's say you make your first $100,000, there's all these opportunities brought to you. Like, hey, bro, you should invest 50,000 in my business, or you should do crypto, or have you ever thought about trading or taking some of that money and doing this or doing that? It's like, dude, just stick in your lane. Like, you think $100,000 is a lot, which it is for, the normal person, especially having that in your bank account. But I promise you can make it to $1 million a lot faster if you just stick in that same lane and just ignore all the noise out there. Like, the fancy object syndrome is real. Like, everybody wants to chase the next fancy thing, but people don't like to stick with the same thing for a long time because it gets boring, but boring things make money. So I would say stick in your lane, double down on your lane, expand your lane, keep going into what you're doing and growing yourself into the lane that you've already found success in, and don't get too entertained by all the things else that are out there.
No, that's the dude. I wish you had on this podcast about 8 or maybe a year ago, because I'm really good at automated webinars. So there's a lot of people out, but I'm up there with it. That's my lane. Okay, it's boring to me, dude. It's so boring, right? You do this, I know exactly what you need to do. But I started the VA company. That looks cool. That was so not in my lane. I started selling the VAs to do the webinars, but then I had to coach the VAs, so I lost everything. So that's great tip there. All right, what's best relationship advice you have? So you're and we both got together, but what's best relationship tip you have, whether business or, I'm not married yet. I kind of ran away from women for the longest time. I'm finally out there dating again. I want to get married, find a first lady, but what's the best relationship advice you have?
I mean, I'll go on the other side when it comes to like actual relationships rather than business relationships, because we could talk about business relationships all day long. But with actual relationships, it's just find people who believe in your dream and believe in your passion, and like, really, really stick on like the word cynicism. Cynicism was really big for me. I never wanted somebody that would ever doubt my beliefs or my dreams. And like, even if I sounded a little bit crazy to you, it was like, you're like, hey, look, like, if you say you're going to do it, you're going to do it. I'm gonna hold you accountable. Like, let's see if your word is your balls. And, that was something that my partner, helped out a lot with. And she's like always been pushing me towards my dreams since, day one. She actually was the first employee that I had here at Supreme Ecom. She's the HR director here at Supreme Ecom. She's hired every single person we've had. She's seen my like crazy lunatic brain. And instead of being like, nah, you kind of crazy, she was like, nah, you can do it. Like, if you say you can do it, then do it. So it's like, find somebody who really believes in your dreams, your passions, and doesn't steer you away from them. And doesn't tell you like it's okay to give up, or, when things are hard, to just take a couple of days. Get that person that's going to tell you the things that you're not going to want to hear, that is just going to help better you as a person.
Yeah, that's cool, dude. The first point, I had to take my brother's getting married. I took this girl to the wedding, And she basically told me, I told her all these dreams, we're going to move to Miami and do this and speak and do all this stuff at events. And it wasn't that she doubted it, but then when I did it, she came down and was like, I'm so proud of you that you did all this stuff, right? And it was really cool. And then it's funny because you're so true about that, man. I will, like, literally on the first date, I'll tell the girl, like, I might run for president, might do all this, like, just to see where they're at. If they doubt it, then I'm like, oh, we're not going on for it. All right, that's great. What's one of the best books, podcasts, or audiobooks you've read right now?
Man, I really like the book Good to Great. You know, that was one that was really big for me. It really helped me understand, like, I thought, because this is one of those books where I'm sitting there thinking, like, I'm on top of the world, I'm doing great. And then I'm like, oh shit, I'm not even anywhere where I should be at, or like creating the systems I should be creating. Like, I took that book and implemented like so many different systems, even like one of them being like, you know, like a power inventory session where I'm sitting there diagnosing my time every single quarter, understanding the things that I'm doing, what I should be doing, the things that I like, the things I don't like, how to do the art of delegation. You know, how to be able to make the right systems where your business has a repeatable system. You build a business like it's a franchise prototype. That's like from the E-Myth book, but it kind of rolled over to the Good to Great book as well. So I just started building every single business like it was supposed to be sold. And that was something that was really big. Is like I was just like running the business, but I wasn't building it to like the right type of structure and thinking far out, like, and having a bag, like a big, hairy, audacious goal where it's like, you know, I get to this goal of where I want to be at in 5 to 10 years and working and doing reverse psychology backwards. I was always just working towards like what the next goal needed to be in 3 months or 6 months rather than the end goal back. So I would say like Good to Great was a really big, really good book for me.
I agree. That's an amazing book too. All right. Last question. Where can people find more of you? And what do they have to search?
We'll put so you can find me out on all my social medias. My name is AC Hampton, Instagram, AC_Hampton, TikTok, AC_Hampton, YouTube, AC Hampton. You can also check out everything that I do on my website, supremeecom.com.
All right, my man. Wait, what does AC stand for?
My real name is Alexander Kashan. So everybody calls me just AC because it's just easier.
No, that's cool. I hated the name Jeff because my name is Jeff, right? So I was trying to get like JJ or JC or something like that, and it never caught on. So I'm still
never stuck on.
Jeff the Entrepreneur.
My teacher started calling me AC in like middle school, you know, so I was just like, I ended up sticking with it. I had it in high school, college. Like when I went to college, I didn't even introduce anybody. Like my name was Alex.
It sounds famous. It's AC Hampton. Sounds like, I think because they have AC Peterson there, it just sounds like it has that legit. All right, AC, man, brother, appreciate you. When I'm in Dallas, maybe we'll do an event there. If you're ever in Miami, I do my workshops. I'll have you share here. One of the best speakers too, dude. You just speak extremely well. God's giving you that gift. So thank you so much for your time, brother.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you.